Hi, this is Wes with eMaint, and today I'll be talking about condition monitoring. I have a definition here by Reliability Web. I'll give a shorter version here that condition monitoring is a process that allows you to monitor asset health and identify significant changes that can be indicators of a fault being developed. Now, in the eMaint condition monitoring module, you can define sets of monitor points that will trigger actions, emails, and work orders when your readings are outside the norm for a specific asset. And the readings being, for example, temperature, vibration, current, etc. All right, so this here is a list of key features and functions, so I'll read them to you. You'll be able to define monitoring classes for each asset. Noise, vibration, temperature, lubricants, wear, corrosion, pressure, and flow can be monitored independently. Readings can be entered manually or imported from a file. Upper and lower boundaries of acceptable operation are defined for each asset. Readings can be displayed as a report with color-coded exceptions. Emails can be auto-triggered when a boundary is exceeded. And work orders can be auto-generated when a reading falls outside of predefined boundaries. Now, where to find X4 condition monitoring module? Before I get to that, let me first highlight that this feature is only not available for customers at the team account level. If you are at the professional or enterprise account level, then you do have that feature. If you need more information about it, you can talk to your customer success manager, or you can also email us at services@eMaint.com, and you can also find information on our website. Now, where to find the X4 module in eMaint X4? So I separated these in two sections, setup and usage. So there's two tables here that will allow you to set up condition monitoring. So it's monitor class and monitoring points master. To add those, you add them just like you would add any other tab here to the left side. You go to manage tables and add them. I'll demonstrate this in a minute. So in the actual system, but let me talk about the usage options, which are the add new readings, import readings, and view readings added. They can be found here under the main menu, condition monitoring, and then you have the three options. All right, so I'll show you those in the system too. Next here, the setup process. So I gave you here 3 steps: create monitoring class, create monitoring points for that class, and then the third and last step will be the associating monitoring class to an asset, right? And I have an example here on how we're going to do this. My example here of an electrical motor. I have a 2 monitor points here that I'm going to use. And the idea here for this example is that we're going to be taking temperature readings in 2 different points of this motor, right? So my first step here is going to be creating a monitoring class, which I'm going to call temperature analysis. And then the second step here is going to be create the points for that class. And my points are the termination box, so I can see the temperature of the wires inside that termination box, and the bearing that will be inside the case here, right? But that will be my monitor point 2. And the third step would be associate the monitoring class to an asset, which in this case is, of course, the electrical motor. And I have slides here for each one of those steps: create monitoring class and the points, and then associating that with the asset. And then you have the screenshots and everything. So you can access these presentation with these video. So you'll be able to download the PDF. All right, but I'm actually going to show you this in the system. It'll be more beneficial if I actually do it there. And I have my eMaint account open here. There we go. So I'm on my X4 account, and you can see here on the left side, I do not have yet the monitor class endpoint. So I'll go to my name here so I can add those. And just keep in mind that my person icon here in my account is on the left side, but depending on the theme that you're using, you might find that right here on this side, right? Mine is here, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on this. And I have manage tables right here is the first tile there, first option. In here, I'm going to look for the available tables. Let's start with monitor. So class endpoints. And now they showed up here at the bottom, which means that when I apply the changes, you're going to see them on the left side here. Great. All right, so now I have the class and the points, and these are the two tables that I need in order to set up condition monitoring. And the other part of this is the main menu where I have the condition monitoring option, and there are the three options there that I mentioned earlier. All right, so let me start here by creating a class. You can see that by default, I already have two classes, and you should have that too. They should be by default in everybody's account. You have loop analysis and vibration analysis as examples here. So you could click on this to see what a class looks like, but I'll actually create a brand new one and explain the fields in there. All right, so I decided that my class is going to be called temperature analysis. In these Q1 through 15, these are questions. You can have up to 15 questions here that will be asked to whoever is entering those readings. So before entering the reading, they're asked the questions that you define here. And they'll have to answer those to proceed. So I'll say taken by, to used, and I'll just use these two. It's good enough for the example. And then email trigger. Do I want to receive an email notification when an exception happens? When the temperature, for example, is too high, right? Or too low. So yes, I do want that, and I want that notification to be sent to my email address. Oops. All right. If you want to add more than one email address here, you can. Just make sure that you put a comma here, no spaces, next email address. Right. I'm just going to use mine here for now. And now, do I want to the system to generate a work order when an exception happens? Yes, I do. So I'll say true. And then here I have the option to tell the system what's going to be the work order type. So I'm going to call this one CM for condition monitoring, and then reactive because it is going to be reacting to an exception, right? So CM-reactive, that's what I want there. And save new record. And this is it for creating a class. Unless you want to put more information here for the questions and everything, right? More questions. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to the list. And you can see that now I have three classes, one in addition to the other two I already had, and temperature analysis. Now, when I create my points, I'll be able to select which of these classes I'm creating the points for, right? So let's go ahead and go to the second step of this process, which is the monitor points. So when I get to this screen, you can see I have a list here of all the points. By default, you already have a few for loop analysis. So you're going to have iron, aluminum, copper, and different ones. So this is also as an example here for the points that would go with the loop analysis for the loop analysis class. And here for the vibration analysis, you have three: vertical, horizontal, and axial. I'm going to create my own points here for my new class. So to do so, I need to click the plus button. All right, so now on the monitor point screen, the first thing I need to do is to select a monitor class. So I'm going to select here temperature analysis, and my monitor point, I'm going to do the termination box. That's one of them. Then I'll create one for the bearing. Units, I'm going to put here Fahrenheit. And display order, I'm going to put 1. And this is the order in which I want the system to display the termination box point when I'm entering readings. So if I want this to be the first column on that screen, the first reading that I take, then I put here number 1. Import map, you need to start with 4. And the reason for that, I have a slide here to show you, is that when you importing readings into the system with a spreadsheet, the system already has a purpose for the first 3 columns on your spreadsheet. The first one would be the asset ID, the ID column. The second one would be the date column. and the third one would be the time stamp, right? So when you start creating your points, you need to start with 4. All right. So C format, this is how many characters I want to be able to enter when I take my readings, right? You have to represent them by axis. So I put here 3 axes in case I need to take readings that are above 100 or above 99, right? So there's other fields here: read only, default value, export label. I'm going to keep it simple and just talk about the ones that are very important here for setting up condition monitoring. And these fields are the lower bound fields and the upper bound fields. Now, you don't need to set up both lower bound and upper bound. So in this case, I'm going to do upper bound only. And I'm going to do here, if it's above 90 Fahrenheit, you can tell me that the wires in the termination box are too hot. All right. In upper bound color, if I click the magnifying glass here on the right side, then you'll be able to select the color. For that warning, I'm going to select red. It makes sense. And you do need to turn these on if you want the system to send you an email notification and trigger a work order when an exception happens, right? So the system, this point would look into what is set up for the class, and there I put my email address and also said that I want the work order to generate, and then we'll trigger those actions, right? So I'm done with the termination box here, so I'll save new record. And now I'm ready to create my second point. Instead of starting from scratch, I'm going to make a copy of this point and just make a few changes there. So I'm going to change this to bearing. And display order is going to have to be number 2. These one, the next number up, 5. And I'm going to change my upper bound here to 180. And here I'll say that the bearing is too hot. Right, that should be good. Now I have 2 points once I save this. Great. So if I go to my list, you can see I have 2 points for the temperature analysis class, and I have termination box and bearing. So now the step 1 and 2 are completed, right? So now I just need to associate this class with the points to an asset. To do that, I need to go to my asset list. All right, so here I'm going to look for my motors. I think I only have one in this account. So let me look for it. There it is. All right, so here's my asset record for that motor. Now, to find the section where you would need to have to associate with the monitor class, you'd have to go to the related tables. And that's going to be called monitoring points. If you do not see these in your account, this section here, this related table, in the record details, you can go to options, and if you have the permissions to do so, you can go to manage related tables. My monitoring points are already there, but if I didn't have it there, it would be on this side, and then you just have to add it, right? I want to have it at the top here just to show you, so I'm going to actually just drag it up. Apply changes. All right, so it's here on the related tables. Now, I'm going to click the Add New Class, and I'll be able to select the temperature analysis right here. Here you go. And add class. When I add the class, you're going to see the system will populate this area with the points. Bearing, termination box. Perfect. So you see that now we completed the setup process for this monitoring class, and the points and the class is now associated with the asset, right? All 3 steps completed. Now we're ready to take our readings and start using our condition monitoring module. So let me go back to my presentation here and just show you a slide I have for taking the readings, right? As an example here, I have a Fluke thermal imager, and then we're taking the reading here for the termination box, and the temperature is 109. And I also took the temperature here of the bearing. I mean, this wasn't me, but we took the temperature here. It's 105 for the bearing. So I'm going to enter those readings into the system. To do that, I need to go to main menu and condition monitoring, and I'll do add new readings. On this screen, you see the main thing you need to do here is just select the class. So I want to select the temperature analysis, and then if I select the class, I can already move forward to the next step. Just so I explain a little bit of about these fields here. What this is the system allows you to create PM schedules to remind you to take condition monitoring readings every so often, right? You decide that. And so once those PM schedules generate the PM work orders for taking the readings, then they'll be on the work order list. So this date range here will allow you to find those work orders for taking the readings. And then as you enter those readings, the system will automatically close those work orders. Okay, so, but keeping it simple, I selected the monitoring class, and now I'm going to click this button. And now I'm taken to the next screen, which is asking me those questions I defined when I created the monitor class. So taken by, I'm going to put my initials here, and tool used, put here Fluke thermal imager, and then proceed to take my readings. All right, so here you can see where the order of the fields that you provided in the points take effect, right? So this is number 1. So it's the first column here after the main information. I'm going to put 109. That was the reading. When I click out of this, you're going to see a warning telling me that the wires in the termination box are too hot. Great. So bearing, I'm going to put here, my reading was 105. Okay. Now, you need to make sure that after you're done entering your readings, you need to make sure there is a check mark here in this box. So after clicking here the second time, then there's a checkbox in there, and I'm now ready to save the readings. And as soon as I save the readings here, the system will do 2 things, right? It will trigger the actions. It will create a work order of the CM reactive type, because that's the name I gave to it. And it will also send me an email. So I'll show you both behaviors. Let me save this. Completed. Great. Now let's go to the work order list and see what we got there. All right, CM reactive. Let's look for those. I already see it over there. Here you go. And this was created today, just now. All right, so you can see CM reactive for my electric motor, and the wires and termination box are too hot. So that's awesome, right? So I got the work order right away. But I also want to show you that I did receive an email. So let me drag it over to the screen here. All right, and you can see that I have just received this email, and tells me that 109. I received this because termination box, the reading was 109, which is greater than 90, right? Okay, so that's great. The system did both things: generated the work order, CM reactive, and sent me an email right away. Okay, so the other thing you can do here is, as you enter readings, right, you'll be able to go to main menu, condition monitoring, and view those readings, right? For this asset, I only entered that one reading, so let me go ahead and check that out. And you see, the first thing you do here, you select the class, temperature analysis, and then you select the asset. Of course, you can have more than one asset associated with the class. I only have one, so I'll select that one and say display readings. There it is. So I have the one reading there I took. Here you'd be able to export that data into a spreadsheet. Graphs, demonstrate that. See graphs here. I'll select both points, termination box. I'll hold my control key here and also select bearing. And I'll say display graph. Let's see what we got. And right now I don't have anything because I only entered one reading. You see the date here and the time in which I entered. As you enter more readings, then of course a graph will be, a line graph will be displayed on the screen, right? So this is great. And that's also what's going to allow you to see patterns and eventually move from being just a reactive system to also being a predictive system where you can you'll be able to make decisions based on those patterns, right? So if I go here back to my slide deck, you're gonna see that I have slides for everything that I've showed with the steps, so you'll be able to again download this. Now analyzing data, I just want to show you this because I do have the steps here with explanation of the buttons and everything. But the graph I had when I took this screenshot, I had more than one reading. See, I had two, and then for that reason, I had something to show, right? I had the graph there. Okay, so you can see how useful condition monitoring is, it triggers actions, and you can take care of those work orders after notification too. So I mean, it's definitely a great and useful system. So if you need more information on it, there's a manual that you can find in the Help Center. And if you need to talk to us about it or have any more questions, feel free to contact our eMaint team member, and we'll be glad to help. Thank you very much.